Hello and welcome to the Fallen Podcast. I'm your host, Big Al, and welcome back. Once again, we're back to share the news and shed some light on things, man. And the next guest that we got in the studio, these guys I mean, to say the least, they changed my life here in 2024. They added three words to my vocabulary that I probably would not have imagined no Big Al saying, but there it was. I said it, big buck down, and when I mean it, I mean the name of this organization is UXO, which stands for Ultimate Experience Outdoors, and I totally got it at that moment because at that moment I had just had the ultimate experience outdoors. So we'll talk about these guys. I got Warren Maddox and Chad Hostetter going to be joining me here in the studio. But the most awesome thing about this organization. I mean, I showed up in street clothes with street cred. Uh, as a matter of fact, drove my Mustang down, and that's shortly after that I met Mr. Warren Maddox, and within an hour of meeting Warren, I was kitted from head to toe with everything that I needed to actually go out into the wild outdoors and engage to actually have that ultimate experience outdoors. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Mr. Warren Maddox into the Fall In Studios. How you doing, there, Warren?
Good, Al. Thank you for having me on.
Man, thank you for joining us, man. We've been trying to put this together for quite a while. Just hadn't quite worked out for us. I know it's scheduling and everything, but now we got it nailed down. We're gonna go ahead and get this done, man. Your organization is probably, I could say, out of all of the organizations that I work with, you guys have had the biggest impact on my life personally. So with that, I wanted to be able to share not just my testimony, but to give a testament as to uh you know, just just what you guys did for me, man. So tell us a little bit about yourself first. Tell us who is Warren Maddox, man. What makes you get out of bed in the morning? What are you passionate about?
Oh well, as far as passionate goes, I'm a husband, a father, Christian, born and raised in South Alabama. Um, I did 6 years in the military. I was stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, where this all began. Huge in the outdoors, obviously. Hunting, fishing, camping. I mean, you name it, and I've had a hand in it or actively pursue it. So, um, like I said, I'm father of three little boys, and um, hoping that they find a love for it the same way I did too, because it is the outdoors and the military both have taken me places I never thought I'd go. So.
That's awesome. Like I said, also we're joined in the studio by none other than Mr. Chad Hostetter. Chad joins us. Chad, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself as well? Chad, can you
Can
hear me?
can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we
Mhm.
got you loud and clear, bud. Just was asking you if you could just tell our audience a little bit about yourself. We can't hear you. Okay. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties with Chad, but we'll try to get him back in once he gets a solid connection. But so why don't you just begin telling us, because I mean you're the president of the UXO, but you were also kind of one of the founding fathers of this organization. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how this whole thing started?
In 2016, I was in the process of preparing to ETS from the military. Uh, I started a Facebook group, more of a discussion forum under the name Southeast Experience. Um, in my youth and just not knowing much, when Facebook asks you to set up a business page in those days, you were given limited options. So I chose nonprofit organization, just not really knowing. I was 25 at the time, and we were just discussing hunting and fishing, and had a gentleman reach out to me about could myself and my friends that helped me run the page, could we facilitate a double amputee veteran turkey hunt in Waverly, Tennessee, and of course, we were all over it.
I
So
mean, yeah,
yeah,
that's that to
we,
me that seems like a pretty tall order, a WMPT turkey hunt. But yeah, continue.
well, the sponsor that reached out that wanted to make it happen, he vowed to handle all the funding. We just had to do the hunting and the legwork and stuff like that, and we took that task on, and we got very very close that weekend. Even though we didn't get a turkey, um, like I said, had several close encounters, and then just made amazing connections, fellowship wise. That gentleman's name was Zach Gore, and I'm still in contact with him and his wife Allie to this day. We don't talk as much as we used to, but we still talk often, and they always bring up how much fun they had on that hunt. And after the hunt was over, um, one of the guys that I was stationed with at Campbell that came in to help me, he just made the mention. He said, "Man, you ought to do this. You ought to make this a thing." And I didn't have the money, to get to hire a lawyer or anything like that to type up bylaws and articles of incorporation and all that for me. So I just got on Google and kind of did it myself. And now I had to take them to a lawyer, to get notarized and everything like that in the beginning. But I typed everything up and wrote everything up myself using examples from other nonprofits. And so we were founded in November of
So
2000.
so
Go
let me
ahead.
get this straight. So you had no idea, no knowledge of what you were doing, and you just pretty much copied and pasted this thing and made it what it is. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, for lack of a better way to put it, yeah. Like I said, I went in and changed some stuff up to fit what we did, and fix the mission statement and so on and so forth. But yeah, to a T, I guess that would be the best way to put it. But we were founded in November of 2016 is when we became official, and it was under Southeast Experience. Um, and then as the time progressed, we had a sister chapter in Kansas called Midwest Experience. The organization continued to grow. The board of directors at that period of time decided the best thing to move us forward was, instead of creating more sister branches or so on and so forth, was to combine them. So therefore, UXO was born at that. The other two titles, Midwest and Southeast, vanished. UXO became one, and from that point forward, it's been wide open pretty much. It has grown exponentially. Um, we have a fantastic board of directors now. Um, Chad, myself, Ross Nelson, Andrew Odom, Jonathan Hatcher. And there's been some great guys that have come and gone. But at the moment, we have a great group of guys, and I'm not gonna say it's easy. It's never easy, but they're all dedicated and their heads in the right place, and we got big things on the horizon.
well, that's awesome. So speaking of one of those guys on that board of directors, a guy who's been, I know he's been involved in this thing pretty much from inception. I know he was there with Southeast Experience. None other than Mr. Chad Hostetter. Chad, can you hear us?
Finally, I believe so.
All right. Well, welcome to the podcast, bud. I was going to ask you earlier if you could just tell our audience a little bit about yourself as much as you care to share.
Oh man, typical story, small town hero. Joined the military to get away from the working in a factory my whole life. Uh, Joined the army to see the world and made it as far as Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Got a few exotic vacations, a few deployments, some cool stories, and a chest full of medals that my soldiers earned for me. Um, got involved with these guys basically on my way out of the military. Was looking for basically looking for a way to continue to kind of be that. I my story is a little bit different than Warren's. 21 years, 11 days of service. I had to find a way to keep being that leader uh, that I thought I was, and I think overall this experience has made me a better man, a better person, uh, a better leader. Uh, but got involved with these guys in 2016, really, when we got my Gold Star family. What I call my Gold Star family is, a family that's lost a soldier in the line of duty. Um, my Gold Star family, young man, loved to hunt fish all of his life, and Warren teed him up for a turkey hunt. And needless to say, I was hooked, man. And just found a way to get in kind of where I fit in, and you know, debowed and elbowed my way in until they finally accepted me for who I was and took the leash off and let me do what I do. And from our relationship and personal experience, that's not easy. Uh,
Right? Yeah, you
you know,
were definitely a bit of a spirited uh, individual.
passionate, passionate,
That's it. We'll say passionate. I
passionate.
like it.
But got involved with these guys, and like I say, I came in on the tail end of Warren telling the story of the merger. Uh, I would like to think played a big role in that, as far as keeping the two organizations on the same path, uh, and ultimately ending up on the path that we're on right now. And
Okay.
like the boss said, huge opportunities, and this thing is limitless for us.
So
So
let's talk about this path. So exactly what is the path that UXO is? I mean, what is, where have you come from, and where are you going with this vision of yours, this path? Like you said, the first initial hunt was to be able to go out and take this guy who was a paraplegic uh, on a turkey hunt. I mean, how many paraplegics have you? I mean, have you guys taken a lot of special individuals out? I guess it's a direct question.
We've taken several amputees out, including Zach, and then the upcoming turkey hunt that we have, we're taking another one, a female veteran, double amputee. Um, we take kids hunting as well.
What's the most challenging hunt that you guys have done? I mean, can you tell us a story of maybe maybe I mean what's the hardest thing that you pulled off?
oh, uh, I would probably say, and everybody's different because we don't all get to attend every single hunt. Mine would be, as far as most difficult, would be the first 2 years that we did the turkey hunt. I would say the second year was the toughest. The first year we did it, it it was logistically it was tough, but it was just it was bad. It was bad living conditions. We had guys staying in campers. We had rented some cabins at a local RV park. We did it at the end of April, which in Alabama is scorching hot. We had a guy nearly fall out as a heat cat. Turkeys weren't gobbling. I mean, to be
This
honest, the
is
fact that we even continued to have a second hunt is actually pretty amazing.
Yeah, that
Uh,
doesn't sound like the makings of a good time right there. Not at camp.
it was rough. But the second year, we got involved with the Bonvalon family. And shout out to Sydney Little, one of our volunteers who's been with us from almost the get go. He connected us with that family in the community of McKenzie, Alabama, and that community has just opened their doors to us. We now have several cabins that we use for these vets when they come in. They come in and they've got 5-star lodging. A lot of hunting clubs in the area have found out about what we do. They donate their property. They donate a guide. We have our own volunteers that come in. Some from out of town. They may not have property here, but they can call a turkey. So we hook them up with a hunting club that says, "Hey, we don't have any turkey hunters, but we got plenty of land and there's birds on it." And the two, bind together, and it has turned into something great.
So for my listeners here, though, it kind of sounds like you got everything that you need. I mean, is that the case? I mean,
If the birds read the script every time, it would be a perfect hunt. But
I see
no,
Chad
there's
shaking his head in the background. Chad,
yeah,
well, I think. Go ahead.
I was going to say there's always hurdles that come up. There's things we can't control. You've got guys that show up late due to traffic or weather. The weather can play a factor in our hunt. With that many moving parts on such a large hunt, communication is key. and communication does fail sometimes. But overall, the fellowship of that hunt is fantastic, and we usually get really good feedback on that.
I think Warren hit on. I think he hit on something that really needs to be highlighted here. Is each event, each hunt, each muscle movement. When we take strangers, who we may or may not have served with, who someone may know down the road that knows somebody that served with Smith or Jones or Nixon or Hostetter. I think each hunt presents its unique challenges. So there's no real one hunt that you could probably pin to be the most challenging. Logistically, the Illinois hunt is, the Savannah Army Depot hunt with hunters with disabilities. We have an agreement with the folks up there that, hey, you bring a new hunter, you submit a packet, we'll do our best to get you in every year. And they've led true to their word. We've been up there a lot, and it takes a ton of time. It takes a ton of money, and it takes a ton of effort and patience to be up there and hunt within the confines of a 2-day window with absolutely no, you do your map reconnaissance, you do, those skill sets that the military taught us to do, your pre-mission planning, reverse planning. All of that ties into what we do, from housing to transportation to chow to bullets to ammo to camo.
So if I could jump right in there on that, because I mean, like I said, I wanted this kind of goes to conversation. When you say from the child, so like, what is it that you guys? I mean, I'm the veteran. I understand my experience, but if guys were wanting to get in contact with UXO, what is it? How do I qualify? Who do I get in touch with? I mean, and then what can I expect? Are there different types of hunts?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I say we average 10 to 14 events a year. And by event, we mean a hunt, a fishing trip, whatever, if that's farm pond fishing, if it's beating the brush, in Illinois, looking for that elusive 162-inch deer that we killed up there before with the guys. But man, reach out. We're on social media platforms, to include Fall In Veteran, Facebook. I believe the Facebook and the Instagram accounts are linked, so everything should be getting posted. I'm not an Instagram guy, so there's a waiver on that. We've got a website that's always kind of under construction, UXO nation.org. And big shout out to anybody looking for a little IT work out there on the side hustle for a little quid pro quo, maybe a little pro bono. We're always looking for, someone to step up and kind of improve that. But, 10 to 14 events a year, anywhere from probably 50 to 70 folks that we try to impact on a yearly basis. And that all of that's based on our availability, because, we want to do more, but we have full-time jobs, we have full-time families, we have full-time responsibilities and careers that we're pursuing post-military. We do have one gentleman who's still active duty. So his calendar stays pretty full. But reach out, man. Our phone numbers are all over everything that we have.
Yeah, we're going to put the links to these
reach
guys.
Out.
It'll be in the chat.
We need good folks that want to help out too, And I think that Warren will agree that there is a right way to do these things. But again, there's so many factors that get a vote in that, and what right looks like.
Definitely, I could understand that, man. But I understand personally that you guys have definitely made a huge impact on the lives of those that you have been able to serve. Because I mean, you made a huge impact on my life. I mean, big button down, shots fired, Big Al got one. I mean, I'm still grinning, and I just wanted to be able to, because it meant a lot to me. And like I said, I showed up, street cred, street clothes, and within an hour of meeting Warren, I mean, I really looked like I looked like I knew what I was doing. I mean, I might not have, as long as I stood still, I mean, just with that pose, people were like, dang, this dude right here. But yeah. And by the time I left, thanks to there it is. I didn't drop his name right now. So I took things on my mind, but my God there,
Dustin.
Dustin
Mhm.
Dwyer. But yeah, and his his dad Mark, those guys down there at Coon Creek, wow, it was an awesome time, man. So
And I'll
if
never
it
forget that text, by the way. I was at another event, a memorial deer hunt that we do, and I got a text from the boss saying shots fired at Coon Creek. And
shots
I
fired,
mean, I couldn't stop laughing. And then when your text came through,
I
I'm
could
like,
quit smiling.
oh boy. Oh
I'm
boy.
still smiling.
I really do wish we'd have thrown him on top of the Mustang though. Like I
Yeah,
wanted
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I
It
wanted
did the
that.
drive through town. Yeah,
Mrs. Nixon
I
does it.
wanted the photo, but we
the
didn't get
deer
that one.
slayer. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. I'll definitely maybe next time. If I ever get a chance to come back down there,
I
maybe we
told you to
could
get a
throw it
truck.
on the back
So.
of the old Ford and figure it out. But man, speaking of that, you guys, you speaking about these turkey hunts. So you got turkey hunts coming up here in the future. What else does UXO have on the calendar that our folks might be able to get involved in, whether it be through support or just to check it out? Why don't you tell us what's on the agenda or horizon for you guys?
The turkey hunt, even though it's in 2024, it kind of wraps up our busy season in a way as far as the outdoors go. We start in the fall during deer season. Um, we'll go through the spring into turkey season. In some years past, we've had fishing trips lined up in the summer. The summer is also a busy time for us as far as our fundraising, shaking hands, kissing babies. That's the kind of time we devote for that. And then right back going into the fall, we're right back into deer season doing it all over again.
So a couple things that we have, obviously we're always out there looking for those corporate partnerships and sponsorship and a way to earn trust and to earn the confidence of the people who invest, their hard-earned money into our mission. And that's a mission of service to those who deserve it. And I think Warren actually came up with that and a couple of his buddies, and that's kind of stuck, giving back to those who deserve it. 2022 and 2023 were absolutely phenomenal banner years for the organization. We got involved with the Department of Alabama Veterans of Foreign Wars and the Veterans of Foreign Wars Auxiliary. Mrs. Nancy Rathburn, widow of Mr. CW5 Jim Rathburn. We do a memorial hunt in his honor every year. She was the state president for the 2022-2023 season, if you will. We were her special project, and they done things throughout all. I want to say there's 57 auxiliaries or posts in the state of Alabama. So across the state, Ultimate Experience Outdoors was getting exposure throughout the state of Alabama, and they were able to raise a lot of good money, and we invested a lot of time to spend with them at their schools of instruction, their midwinter conference, and ultimately their successors who were elected and installed over the weekend. And we've had some great relationships out of that. I shared a blind to close out 2023 with the Department of Alabama State Commander, Colonel Retired Danny Samples. And we were at the lodge at Mallard Landing in Alabaster. And Danny just happens to be from Alabaster. Him and his wife run a brewery in Alabaster. Phenomenal.
What's the name of that brewery?
Soluria Brewing Company. Shout out to them.
We're gonna have to definitely try to
some
get those guys on board.
delicious
Anything is
cocktails
better
southbound on the 65 exit 238, I believe.
Yeah, roger
236.
that.
But we were approached by some folks. There's a veteran kayak bass fishing team that we were fortunate enough to be able to jump on board and sponsor. The Alabama Hammers kayak bass team, a lot of retired senior NCOs and officers on that bass team, and they're going to get out and get after it on the professional tour of ripping lips and catching Gunther out there on the lakes throughout the world. We're honored to be able to be networked in with them and to be able to sponsor them in their journey this year. We're pumped up. We're fired up. They've got a couple kickoff events that we're going to be in attendance for. I don't know too much beyond the turkey hunt what life looks like for UXO. We kind of haven't had our annual meeting yet, but that's on the calendar. We'll probably do that after the turkey hunt. I know we've got an opportunity down in Op for the rattlesnake rodeo. That's on the agenda to discuss. That's
Wait, you
always a
mean
good
you
event.
mean you're gonna take veterans to go hunt rattlesnakes?
Well, we
Absolutely
could. I
not.
mean, we
No.
know people that'll
Oh,
do it.
okay. That's not what
Chad
the
ain't taking
rattlesnake.
nobody rattlesnake hunting.
So that's not what the rattlesnake rodeo is. Okay, got it.
Well, I stay awake from the rattlesnake part. I just do the rodeo thing.
Okay, gotcha.
but man, we've been fortunate enough. We've got some great supporters down in Warren's neck of the woods. Mr. Donnie Wilson and his wife Danielle, Today's Yesterday band. They've also started, I think, 2 years ago, or is it 3 years now? This will be the third year,
Yeah,
right?
third year.
So about 3 years ago, they started an event called the Down South Music Fest, and it is in the OPP, Alabama.
Okay.
We always turn that into a good time. They've got some good talent, Southern rock, country music focused.
Well, we're definitely gonna have to get Fallin involved in that.
We definitely need it.
You guys, it seems like everything that UXO does is kind of Alabama based. Is that just out of coincidence, or do you guys just primarily working in Alabama, or people from other states welcome to actually participate? How does that work even?
Oh yeah. We've taken veterans from all over the country. Um, Alabama is home. I guess that's probably the easiest way to put it. It's home for a lot of us. Some of us grew up here, some of us relocated here, but there's a lot of support in our area, and there are a lot of people that want to give back to the veterans of this country. And we've been very blessed to live and work in an area that has made UXO be able to accomplish our mission. Um, we're always game to do stuff in other states. We've done events in Florida, um, Kentucky. Chad mentioned Illinois.
So
So
what is it that I guess what is it? Is it a land thing? Is it? I mean, is that one of the things?
It's
You know,
resources all in all,
resources.
yeah,
Okay. All right.
Um, and it's truly it's cost effective for us to do something because from Tennessee to the sea, you're 6 hours from anywhere in the state of Alabama.
mhm,
Um, and a lot of our believers are in Alabama. Alabama has some very alarming statistics when it comes to the darker side of veterans. I don't want to use,
Activities.
yeah. Let's
Yeah.
just say,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, gotcha. Those are things that's what we're here. We're going to shed light on all that. Those are the things that we're talking about because
and we
everything
need
that
it.
we're doing is involved in that conversation. And once we're talking, we're moving in the right direction. So yeah, definitely understand
Absolutely, we're
that.
not doing push-ups. We're actually out there beating. I think the term I was told a long time ago was putting eyes on teddy bears. Putting
Eyes
eyes
on
on
teddy
teddy bears,
bears. Putting eyes on teddy bears. That's
and
yeah.
mhm.
Think I know the guy that said that.
New York, Texas, Colorado, Kentucky, Tennessee. I
Mhm.
mean, hell, we've got people signed up now from. We had a Canadian soldier reach out to us, and I'm like, brother, if you serve, give me your paperwork.
Mhm.
We will do our best to fit you in somewhere. I don't know what the hell you would want to come down to Alabama and hunt that you can't hunt in
Yeah.
Canada, but
In Alberta,
brother,
right?
if you're willing to make the trip, we'll put you on something.
Mhm.
Uh, so I mean, really, we trying to go international here with the
Yeah.
brand, but
And even and Chad mentioned resources. Alabama is kind of a sportsman's paradise. I mean, you got saltwater fishing to the south, some of the best turkey hunting in the country. There's hogs that you can hunt year round. The deer, there's plenty of deer in Alabama, and the quality of deer is going up. And then the connections that we have. I mean, shout out to Whiskey and Racks out in Texas. Chad just went on a hunt with them on a veteran hunt out there, and I mean they've got the exotics. What kind of sheep was that y'all took, Chad?
Big
He
one.
took the white doll sheep.
The white
Yep.
doll sheep, and
White
they have other
doll
exotics. So connections like that. I mean, we can.
I didn't shoot
We're
him,
on.
by the way. You might want to throw that out in the podcast. I didn't shoot no
Yeah.
ram like
Chad
Lou did.
Chad used his prison shank on him, but that's a story for another campfire. But anyway, the resources that we had, 5 years ago, have doubled and tripled to now, and with events like that out in Texas and so on and so forth, we hope that it just continues to blossom.
And a
Awesome.
lot of it is our partnership, the National Whitetail Warrior Project. Colonel retired Sean Prickett and his staff, retired Command Sergeant Major Todd Gladwell. They've had some turnover in their board, but those dudes are literally rock stars of our organizations. Because all three of us, I think you two Taterheads had the same MOS.
We did. We talked about that at camp.
Well, that's cute.
Absolutely.
That's cute. Yeah.
Well, and I want to on that point is when you get to meet someone with such superior intellect like Mr. Maddox, it's a joy to converse with you, sir.
But
Absolutely.
No,
and
the pleasure was mine.
Whitetail's been there with us from the beginning, man. There's times that I've been on the phone pleading like, hey, look, we just need $2,000 to make it through this year. And with no hesitation, man, here's $2,000. Do good things. Send me an executive summary of the event with what you guys did. Take lots of pictures and post it on social media. And I mean, by God, if we can't do that for $2,000, because Warren pointed out, 5 years ago, a $50 bill, these guys were trying to turn it into a $150 bill.
right.
And we've kind of temporarily solved that problem, with the creative things that we've been able to do and the support from, the John Hortons of the world, who owns Circle W Trailers in McKenzie, Alabama. Donates until it hurts. He won't let us pay for anything because he believes in what we're doing. And I think a lot of people, small town America and even corporate America, have looked for ways to serve veterans, to serve kids, to serve Gold Star family members.
Yeah,
They just never had a vehicle.
Yeah. And you see that a lot. You see a lot of people wanting to help veterans. So if anybody listening to this wants to help these guys out in their organization, like I said, we'll put the information, we'll drop the link in, it'll be in the chat. But so your calendar's kind of full, kind of not full, which is a good thing. Don't you have a hunter safety class coming up or something like that? Hunter safety course?
We do. We got invited to the DeKalb County Fair this past summer and was able to go over there, and we just put out a donation jug, man, and got a little bit over $300 worth of donations just by talking to folks and passing out stickers and business cards. And the post commander took us to lunch and was like, hey, man, what are you guys going to do with that money? And I'm like, we kind of don't know yet. He's like, it came from here, so we need to do something here. And I think he was challenging me, and I respect that. I need that in my life. You know that of all people. I think both of you do. And just on the fly, I said, well, hey, man, why don't we do something that's totally free? Why don't we get some local businesses together to support with breakfast, because it's an 8-hour block or until complete. And why don't we do at your facility so you can tell people what your post home, you can show people your home, and we can come in and throw some groceries on the grill and just do it up for a day. And on top of that, we're going to give away one lifetime hunting or fishing license to one lucky participant that completes the training for the state of Alabama.
Okay.
So that's totally free. It's open to everyone from 10 to 64. If you're over 64, you don't need a hunting license in the state of Alabama, but you're still more than welcome to come and attend. We don't turn anybody away. That's one thing about Ultimate Experience Outdoors. We are if you have the right mindset and you're in it for the right reasons, you're going to be challenged. You're going to be put to work, and you're going to see the reward out of that.
Well, I tell you, that's awesome, man. And fall in, yours truly, Big Al, is actually going to be on site there in DeKalb County with UXO, lending the assist there on that. But another thing, what about that? I see you guys. I'm sporting a UXO shirt, and I see Chad's got on a hat, and Warren's got. Is there any UXO gear that's available for us to pedal out of Big Al's ready room
Soon.
So you heard it there.
We got the proofs back today, and the board's kind of sitting on those, and we're waiting on a couple mock-ups to come back. But
it is in the works for sure.
It is short final for sure.
We're excited to have you guys as a partner, and definitely to sell your merchandise out of Big Al's Ready Room, guys. Big Al's Ready Room, it's there, it's available. If you want to if you're looking for some merchandise to buy, if you got some stuff you'd like to sell, just had to drop that plug in there as well. But guys, I appreciate you guys coming in and spending time with us tonight. I know that, like I said, you guys have been instrumental in changing my life and my way of thinking. That's kind of hard to believe.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I'll tell you what I've been like. I like I said, I didn't understand the name. I didn't get it. Okay, but somewhere in that weekend, I mean, I truly had an ultimate experience outdoors. And then when I saw that, the name just made sense. It wasn't so much of the play on UXO. It was the play that occurred there within my own life. You know what I mean? So yeah, it changed my life. I mean, that's one of those things that you can, like I said, that's why I'm here. That's why I got you guys on the podcast, because I wanted to give a testament to that. Because I believe wholeheartedly in what you're doing, and if we can promote this in any way, shape, or form, and it gets to a veteran that is looking for this, whether even if he wants to help out, if he wants to pitch in, or if he just needs to, if somebody needs to go on the hunt, we want to just get as much exposure for you guys as possible.
And that's awesome, and we appreciate the confidence. And you've always taught me when the time is right. And ironically, the timing on this was just too perfect. And when I pitched it to these guys, I basically took your bio that I had and pasted it in the group, and they're like, "Holy shit, who's this dude?" Mm-hmm. Well, you'll meet him, but I think of him like family, and you guys need to just keep an open mind.
Yeah, and I saw it said you were a 15 Bravo, so I just said he's in. Get him in camp now.
There you go.
Yeah.
The room spinning.
When he pitched it, you asked me, and I said, "Heck yeah, man!" I was honored. You guys chose me. I still don't know what I did, but man, I was beyond honored that somebody, did something like that for me. That's honestly probably the single greatest gift that I've ever received as a veteran.
Wow, I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, it means a lot, and
I'm sorry you had to spend it with Warren and Dustin, but
Oh man, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dustin, that I was grabbing for your name there, buddy. But
hey, man, if you think I'm bad, you're coming to turkey camp, right?
Yes.
Fall in is coming to turkey camp.
Fall in is going to be a turkey camp.
I will make sure that you get a one-on-one interview with Mr. Sidney Little. That's all
okay,
I'm going to say.
Perfect.
Oh,
well, hell, we're there, Bubba. Let's put that on the calendar. I'm going to be arguing. I don't know who he is, but I'll get a read ahead.
He's one of a kind, great American.
I'll probably get in trouble for this, but hey, I think that we're going to throw it down on Saturday night. Mm-hmm. And if you want to see what Ultimate Experience Outdoors, if you want to see the marquee event, if you want to see us in our element, the place to be, reach out to the Facebook page, reach out to the Fall In page, reach out on the website. We'll shoot you a grid. We'd love for anybody within a reasonable driving distance
Let's put some challenges out there.
Well, we've done that before, and
Okay, all
it
right. So
hadn't
too
worked
soon.
out
Too
because
soon.
people don't like to be challenged, Al.
People don't like. Okay.
People don't
So
like to be challenged,
people
especially
don't like.
veterans. Veterans don't like that at all.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I am telling you that Saturday night, McKenzie, Alabama, at the Bonvilon. I'm ashamed of myself. I can't say the damn last name.
We're gonna have
Bonvilon.
At the
Bonvilon.
Bonvilon Resort and headquarters of the turkey hunt, which is in memory of Sergeant First Class Luke Hortenstein, who Warren met at Fort Campbell. I don't know if you guys got into that at the beginning or not, but I'm going to tell you what, Saturday night will be the place to be the time to be, and to see Ultimate Experience Outdoors shine.
Absolutely. So that we've got to make sure that we plug that. Got to make sure we get plenty of press on that so people will know what it is and where it is and when it is.
Just off the beaten path.
All right. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys coming on. It's been my pleasure to have you guys, to host you as you hosted me. In closing, anything that you guys want to just put out there for folks out there and fall in?
I'll throw it out there. You're going back to resources. We have some people that have done events out. I mean, yourself that see what we do and have just and come back to us and say, hey, we want to help. And if there anybody listening that does ever want to reach out to lend a hand, by all means, send us a message. We actually had one of the vets that I reached out to choose for the turkey hunt. He did not meet the requirements that we had, but he told me, he said, hey, I don't even care if I meet the requirements. I want to come help. He said, your organization does exactly what I want to do, and I want to be there. So he's coming. He's coming just to help. He's got turkey hunting experience. He can tag along if he needs to. But people like that, especially for these big events, but even the small ones, if anyone has ever needed a purpose or wants to feel a part of an organization or something like that, hey, you jump on the roster, man. We don't have a limit. We need help. There's the financial side of things that we work on, and then there's the manpower side of things, and both of them, you can't have one without the other. They're both equally important. So if anybody listening wants to reach out, wants to get involved, not necessarily go on a hunt, but wants to see what we do, message us.
All right, you heard that, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody out there that is hearing this that wants to help out, the link is going to be in the chat. Get in contact with these guys. Help any way that you can. Chad, do you have anything before we close?
Man, call your people. Don't buy into this bullshit that everybody's okay and that everybody. Sorry, man. I'm passionate about that, but call your people. Nobody has to do this alone, and that's probably a different campfire story. That's probably a different podcast with a different audience. But Warren said something on our last little trial run. If you like purpose, get off your ass and find it. You've made an impact in so many communities around the world. Do something for yourself. Do something for your community and make your foxhole better. Improve your foxhole, improve your product, and check on your people.
Challenge accepted. I mean, you said veterans don't accept challenges. Well, challenge accepted.
We'll see. I mean, hey.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into the Fall In podcast. I'm your host, Big Al. I want to give a word to our sponsors. That's Fire Fork. You can find out about the Fire Fork is actually at the Big Al's Ready Room. Go ahead and like and subscribe. 10% of that actually goes to the Jesus Pattern. So look for that. Also, we'll be on the lookout for that UXO gear in Big Al's Ready Room. I want to give a special thanks to Warren Maddox and Chad Hostetter for joining us from UXO. Thank you as well for tuning in, and hopefully we'll talk at you later. And follow it.